Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're going to take an in-depth look at the Hell in the Cell in WWE over the past few years. Looking at my WWE DVD collection, we're going to be going through that. You can use this as a checklist as what you're going to need if you want to collect all of the Hell in the Cell DVDs. Some people might not be into that because of the WWE Network now. You can go over there to the search feature, type in Hell in the Cell, and I'm sure all of the Hell in the Cell matches that are up there on the network are going to be there. But if you want to save footage for your own private library, thinking that maybe someday the WWE Network might go kaplook, this is what you're going to need. Basically, the first thing that you should add to your collection should be the Hell in the Cell. This is titled The Greatest Hell in the Cell Matches of All Time. This is basically the Hell in the Cell anthology. Takes you all the way from 1997 all the way till 2007. Has all of the Hell in the Cells, no matter if it's a Monday Night Raw, no matter if it is a pay-per-view. This is a very great thing to have for your collection. Easily you could pop this in and just watch all of the Hell in the Cells in order. This is a 2008 release, so honestly in my mind it's been long enough that I think that more than likely sooner or later Hell in the Cell is going to get a reboot DVD, no matter if they try to sort of sift some of them out and do like a best of the Hell in the Cell, maybe just to have some of it on Blu-ray. This is something that you should have just because it has everything incomplete from 97, getting you all the way until 2007. So it's your only way of getting Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin against Mankind and Kane, Undertaker versus Mankind versus Kane. Those first Hell in the Cells, that's the only way that you're going to get them. The first one that's going to be found on a pay-per-view DVD is going to be Undertaker versus Bossman in Hell in the Cell from WrestleMania 15. Definitely one of the worst Hell in the Cells of all time. This, of course, is on the reboot version that it came out when they relaunched all of the WrestleMania DVDs a few years ago. They did 1 through 15. This has the footage of Bossman being hung by Undertaker from the Hell in the Cell being edited out. You can, of course, have the WrestleMania box set, which I believe still has it intact along the way. From there, a few of the shows are going to be skipped because DVD wasn't invented yet. But Triple H versus Cactus Jack, in my mind, is one of the greatest of all time. Kurt Angle with the six-pack challenge inside of the Hell in the Cell at Armageddon 2000. Then we get to Judgment Day 2002, one of the toughest WWE DVDs there is to find. Of course, mine is a United States version and not a Koch version. This has Chris Jericho versus Triple H in the Hell in the Cell, the payoff of one of their biggest feuds of all time. A lot of people know that these guys really don't mix 100% well together. If you're a fan of dirt sheets back in the day, honestly, at this point, you really thought that Triple H and Chris Jericho hated each other by now. If you've heard the Chris Jericho podcast with Triple H as the host, they sort of explained the heat that they had back in the day. It seems like they're very chummy, very well friends now. I used to be really cold on this Hell in the Cell, but to now it's kind of warmed up on me, and it's a pretty good match. Them fighting up on top, of course, with the 2x4 surrounded with barbed wire. It didn't really fit either one of their characters, but it played off on the Triple H versus Mick Foley one from a few years before. From there, we'll go to No Mercy. 2002, which of course would be Brock Lesnar against The Undertaker. You can see, the camera's over here, King Kong himself up there on the top. Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker was one of the feuds to really get Brock over as a strong champion. Undertaker, is the guy sort of defending his yard. The new coming rookie coming in there. Undertaker not thinking that Brock really respected him or anything like that, but great match. A really good one to have. From there, we'll go to Bad Blood. This would be 2003, Triple H versus Kevin Nash. Mick Foley was the special guest referee trying to hype this up. Not really a lot going on here. Not one of my favorite Hell in the Cells of all time. From there, we go to Bad Blood 2004, which was sort of like the payoff. This was a Monday Night Raw pay-per-view where they were using the Hell in the Cell pretty exclusively. This match had Triple H against Shawn Michaels, two of the best friends from 2000 until about 2004. This guy's rivalries really paid off to the fact that they were really two of the best guys out there, and they really knew what each other were going to do. Every match that Triple H and Shawn had were one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. So this is a great one to have. From there, we go to Vengeance 2005, which would be Batista beating Triple H, sort of becoming the guy of Monday Night Raw. Shortly after this, he would be moving over to SmackDown, which, you know, was good for Cena, but also I think that Batista really could have been the #1 guy of the company. Definitely Triple H and Batista, you know, blowing off Evolution at WrestleMania 21, of course, when Batista won the Royal Rumble and then chose to take on Triple H to be the guy. You know, a great match here. Of course, 3 times in a row, Triple H put over Batista with, I guess it would be WrestleMania 21, Backlash, and then Vengeance. Great show. Great match there for you. From there, we'll go to Armageddon in 2005. This is the SmackDown pay-per-view, which was highlighted by Undertaker versus Randy Orton. Another feud that came out of WrestleMania 21 with the RKO Legend Killer gimmick of Randy trying to beat Undertaker. There was a lot of people out there that thought that Randy had a great shot of beating Undertaker at WrestleMania and ending the streak there for you. So this is a bloodbath, not only from the two competitors inside the Hell in the Cell, but also Randy Orton's dad, Bob Orton, on the outside getting color. From there, we'll go to Vengeance. No, wait a minute. Unforgiven. I apologize. Unforgiven 2006. I saw the cover and I guess I thought of another one. But this is, of course, DX, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels going up against Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Big Show, with, you know, Vince McMahon getting his head shoved up Big Show's ass. That's really all you get to say about this one. From there, we'll go to Survivor Series 2008 with The Undertaker defeating Edge. No, fuck. Which one are you? You're the one where... Oh, your Hell in the Cell is Batista versus Undertaker. I apologize. I remember when this poster came out and they had Edge there with the chainsaw, thinking like, man, that would be pretty badass if Edge really did show up during the main event. And what do you know? Edge fucking showed up during the main event. They told us it was going to happen and we were still surprised. This is a great pay-per-view. This is a great Hell in the Cell. Definitely one of the top favorites. I don't really hear a lot of people talk about Batista versus Undertaker inside the Cell. Of course, this is Survivor Series 2007, so it is what it is. From there, we go to Maria on a jet ski. This would be SummerSlam 2008. You know, this is Undertaker against Edge. Hell in the Cell. This is the payoff of WrestleMania. That would be 24 in Miami. Built up all the way to this, and great show. Great Hell in the Cell. These guys beat the hell out of each other from there on out. From there, in 2009, Hell in the Cell became its own pay-per-view. I think that honestly, since this point, the Hell in the Cell really hasn't meant as much as it once did. Either has Elimination Chamber, either has other, you know, shows that were based around gimmicks, such as this. You know, when a pay-per-view is sporadically named Judgment Day or Unforgiven or anything like that, and you know, the fans don't really can see it coming. Hell in the Cell, when it's announced, really does mean something. A lot like when it was announced for WrestleMania 28, because no one was expecting to see a WrestleMania Hell in the Cell match. But definitely, when you look at a feud, you can tell, all right, this feud has to last for at least 3 months. They're going to have a match at this pay-per-view, that pay-per-view, and then they'll pay off the feud at Hell in the Cell. You definitely can tell where it's going and how long it's going to last for, because you can't have a Hell in the Cell pay-per-view without a Hell in the Cell, and you can't throw a fresh matchup into the Hell in the Cell, because where are you going to go from there? A regular match? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But I believe in 2009, they had 3 different Hell in the Cell matches. Opening match of the night was Undertaker against CM Punk. Honestly, kind of a forgettable match. And then from there, you go to Randy Orton against John Cena. A match that we've seen a lot, but it's still good inside of the cell. And then DX against Legacy. I really liked the fact that during this, Triple H got locked out of the cell, and then Legacy put the beat down on Shawn Michaels. They just took forever for Triple H to find a way to break into the cell, and who knows why Shawn didn't tap. They even had the point when Triple H leaves the cell, almost like the point of he just can't watch Shawn be beaten up anymore by Cody and Ted. And it's almost like when he returns to the back to get the lock cutters to cut his way into the cage, he's gone so long it makes you really think that he really did give up and he's not coming back. From there we go to Hell in the Cell 2010. Of course, this one is on Blu-ray. Robbie Rebel. Blu-ray. That's vintage YWC right there. But Hell in the Cell 2010, of course, would have 2. Randy Orton against Sheamus, very forgettable. I didn't even remember that was going to be on here. And then Kane versus Undertaker, a match that just goes on forever with no end. From there, we go to Hell in the Cell 2011. This one, of course, would be Mark Henry against Randy Orton. Mark comes in as the champion and gets the win to keep on his championship reign. And then Del Rio defeating John Cena and CM Punk. At the end of this is, of course, when Miz and R-Truth invade, because I think at the time they'd been fired or something like that, which set up the Survivor Series match the next month, but with Cena and Rock, taking them on. Boom. And then, of course, the big surprise one that we talked about, the end of an era. Triple H against Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee. Honestly, I was there live, 8th row, and when I got home and I watched the Blu-ray, the way that they mic'd everything and the way that everybody talks to each other with, Triple H, yelling at Shawn. Shawn's yelling at Triple H to stop, not, quit beating on the Undertaker like that. And Triple H basically is telling Shawn that if he stops the match, he'll stop the beating. And, everybody will be able to, walk out of there. But instead, they keep, fighting each other. And then it finally gets to the point when Triple H almost looks into the Undertaker's eyes, realizing that he's not going to be able to win, and just tells him, "Put me out of my misery, we'll live to find another day." Of course, everybody scoops each other up, they help each other back, they have the big hug at the top of the ramp. Very, very cool moment. Right behind me, WrestleMania 20-0, WrestleMania 28. From there, we'll go to the Hell in the Cell of 2012 with the big filler-in fixer match or upper. They did it right this time. They only had one Hell in the Cell match. CM Punk going up against Ryback. Of course, this was supposed to be against John Cena, but John Cena had the elbow problems and the match wasn't able to happen. Some people say that this is the end of Ryback. I think that it was a start. I think that they started to screw him up after that. Everybody's got to lose one time. And him, getting screwed over, I think that was the one where he lost because of Brad Maddox. Not the end of the world. From here on out, the WWE Network will be launched in 2014. Really didn't need to jump on Hell in the Cell 2013 on DVD. You can watch it on the network if you need it. But, of course, you have CM Punk going up against Ryback and Paul Heyman. And then you also have Randy Orton against Daniel Bryan in the main event. 2014 would bring you John Cena going against Randy Orton to determine the number one contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which would not be crowned until the Royal Rumble of 2015, so we'd have to hold on to that for a while. And then, of course, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose in a very good main event with Rollins and Ambrose both falling off the side of the cage and going through the announce table, which made it look like the match was about to end, but it was just getting started. So that was your recap of all of the WWE Hell in the Cells. It looks like there's been a total of 30 matches to this date, with 2 more coming at Hell in the Cell 2015 with Undertaker and Brock, and then Roman and Bray Wyatt. So I'm pumped. Hope you guys are pumped as well.